This is going to be my introduction, where I'm attempting to throw a tournament, kind of a get together at my own place. It's kind of like a housewarming party, but also just a chance for people to play a different game. I love playing this Pokemon game. I've been having a lot of fun with it. Traditionally, I'm a Magic player, but I've been really branching out and kind of diving headfirst. I've purchased a lot of Pokemon cards, and it is a blast. I currently have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 decks put together in paper. And I can build almost all of them without having to move cards. I am going to set up some profiles so that you can get a little introduction on the deck because Pokemon as a game is not very complex, but the decks are going to be where all of the customization comes in, where all the excitement comes in. So I think that's what I'm going to focus my attention on because teaching you how to play the Pokemon game is not hard, but for you to get a quick rundown of all the decks is going to be a lot more important. The way I'm going to start out this video is I'm going to break down each of the styles of decks, and then I'm going to branch them out into different categories. We have combo, aggro, mid-range, prison, and control. So I'm going to break all those down individually, starting out with the combo variant, which is going to be Roxy Chomp, and there's only one deck list. Roxy Chomp. So this is combo. Like, this deck is all in and all fast. You want to go second with this deck because you want to, it's called Dunk, but you want your opponent to only play one Pokemon, and you want to kill that Pokemon on the first turn of the game when they do not have any other Pokemon on the bench. So, this deck is wild and fast. But this deck struggles a lot if you have to go into the mid game or even the late game. We have this Weezing. Once during your turn, when you discard this Pokemon with the effects of Roxy, you put a damage counter on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Let's go find Roxy. It's a supporter. Discard up to 2 Pokemon that are not Pokemon GX or EX from your hand. Draw 3 cards for each card you discard that way. So, if you discard 2 Weezing to Roxy, you are putting 2 damage counters on every single one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, which is going to allow you to trigger Calamitous Slash, 160 damage. If your opponent's active Pokemon has any damage counters on it, this attack does 80 more. So you're doing 240 damage, but you need 3 energy. And now, this is a dragon border. This color is dragon, and the symbol is dragon, as well as this one. So, down here, you have the special energy, Double Dragon. This card can only be attached to dragon Pokemon. This card provides every type of energy, but 2 at a time. So you can get the Psychic and the Fighting with just the Double Dragon energy. Now you have to just pick up this colorless, and now you have Tapu Koko Prism Star. It has an ability, when it's on your bench, that you may choose 2 of your bench Pokemon and attach a lightning energy from your discard pile to each of them. If you do, discard all cards from this Pokemon and put it in the Lost Zone, which is essentially the remove from game area. Now this is pretty neat because you can do this on turn 1 going second, because you cannot attack on the first turn. Whoever goes first doesn't get to attack and doesn't get to play a supporter. Whoever goes second gets to attack and gets to play a supporter. So if you go second, you can attack with this thing on turn 1 pretty consistently. It's really fun. Next, we are going to move into our aggro decks. These are going to be Mad Party, Ultra Necrozma, and Dark Box. Mad Party is a very interesting deck. It is the quintessential aggro deck. So this deck wants to go second so that it can attack on turn 1. You have a whole bunch of cards that put these Mad Party abilities into the graveyard or the discard pile. So this attack does 20 damage for each Pokemon in your discard pile that has the Mad Party attack. There are 16. So you can do up to 320 damage. That is a ton of damage for a single double colorless energy. This deck is fast and aggressive and has a lot of draw support in Dedenne and Crobat. So, highly suggest if you want something straightforward and aggro, this is a good tool. Alright, Ultra Necrozma. This is Baby Necra. It is Based around this Pokemon here, it has an ability. This Pokemon cannot attack unless your opponent has 2 or fewer prize cards remaining. Seems like a pretty big downside. It is a 1 prize Pokemon, which is pretty important in this format, and its attack is a Psychic and a Metal for Luster of Downfall 170, discard an energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. Now, how do we get rid of that ability? We have Garbodor, Garbotoxin. If this Pokemon has a Pokemon tool card attached to it, each Pokemon in play in each player's hand and each player's discard pile has no abilities except Garbotoxin. So that will shut off this ability and allow you to just attack for double dragon energy and deal 170. What else do we have? Because that can't be enough. Silent Lab, Stadium. Each basic in play in each player's hand and each player's discard has no abilities. So with that as well, you can shut off that ability. It's a pretty cool deck. It's very synergistic. It runs off of Silent Lab, Alternate Necrozma, and a double dragon energy. So this deck is really, really powerful, really aggressive. It's probably... I hate playing this deck, but it's very good in the format right now. Like shutting off basic abilities. It used to be a lot more powerful. They did just ban a couple cards, but one of them was a very degenerate piece of work. This is Dark Box. So this is just a pile of really good dark Pokemon. It is based around your primary attacker is going to be Greninja and Zoroark GX. So for a darkness and a colorless, Dark Pulse 30 plus. This attack does 30 more damage times the amount of dark energy attached to all of your Pokemon. Darkrai GX, Restoration ability. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, you may put it onto your bench and attach a darkness energy from your discard pile to this Pokemon. Darkrai EX, each of your Pokemon that has any darkness energy attached has no retreat cost. So that allows your Pokemon to pretty freely move around the board at will. And then you have Weavile GX. As often as you like during your turn, you may move darkness energy from one of your Pokemon to another one of your Pokemon. This deck has a lot of game against a lot of different things. It's really hard to hate this deck out. It does play a Stage 1, which this attack is very important in a lot of matchups because there's a lot of things that stop basics from attacking. Next, we're going to move into our mid-range decks. These are going to be Gardevoir and Sylveon Tag Team, Pyroar Box, Zacian Box, Mew FCO, and Mew 3 Box. My one first love, Gardevoir and Sylveon Tag Team. What can I say about this deck? It utilizes Gardevoir and Sylveon GX, which is 260 HP. It is a 3 prize tag team Pokemon. It has an attack for 1 colorless energy, Fairy Song. Search your deck for up to 2 fairy cards, energy cards, and attach them to your bench Pokemon in any way you like. And then it has Kaleidostorm for 2 fairy and 1 colorless. Deal 150 damage. Move any number of energy from your Pokemon to other Pokemon in any way you like. But you can attack and you can move your energy all the time, which is very cool because you get to play Max Potion. And Max Potion's downfall, heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. If you do, discard all energy. But you can move your energy around so that you just never lose energy. It's really neat. In Expanded, you have access to this card Fairy Transfer from Aromatisse. It's an ability. As often as you like during your turn, you may move fairy energy attached to one of your Pokemon to another. So you can just move your energy around all the time. Really freaking cool. The downfall of this deck right now is that Zacian V is a really big card in the format. Currently in the Gauntlet, there is only one Zacian deck. So this is going to be a deck that's going to be reasonably competitive in the little get-together tournament that I throw. Like, you are just playing a Pokemon and attacking. That's what this deck does. So I would say if you don't really want to learn a lot of mechanics and you want a deck that's pretty sweet and has a lot of game against a lot, this Pyroar is prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon, which is almost everything. As you've seen, we are going through almost every deck that I have right now, and barely any of these even play Stage 1s or Stage 2s that they will evolve. This game is dominated by, can I play a Pokemon and attack with it on the first turn of the game? So, Pyroar is very powerful, but this is all in on the Pyroar, so you're playing Pyroar Break, which it's kind of hard to read on the side, but Kaiser Tackle, this Pokemon does 50 damage to itself, but it does 180 damage for 3 energy. And now with Welder, you can attach up to 2 fire energy from your hand to one of your Pokemon and draw 3 cards. So that's a very powerful card. So if you go, you have to, on the second turn, you can attack for, well, it's 60. Up to 90 if you want to discard one of your energy. Because this counts as an evolution. So you do have to evolve this on the second turn, evolve to this on the third turn. So on the third turn, you can Kaiser Tackle. And with the break cards, you don't lose any of the text down here. So it still prevents all damage, it just does a more powerful attack. Big Daddy Azacian V. So this deck is aggressive, this deck is fast, but this deck is, as far as Pokemon goes, it's pretty mid-range. Like, you have a lot of game going into the mid-game, you have a lot of tools to kind of play around different things. But the thing that you are doing is you are powering up Zacian V, and it has a 3 metal attack that is 230 damage, but during your next turn, this Pokemon cannot attack. So, you have a ton of tools to get this thing activated. On the first turn, you can attack. You have Metal Saucer, attach a metal energy from your discard pile to one of your bench. Max Elixir, look at the top 6 cards of your deck, attach a basic energy card you find there to a basic Pokemon on your bench. And just generic attachment. So Delmise, your metal Pokemon do 10 damage more to your opponent's active. And Choice Band. The attacks of this Pokemon, or the attacks of the Pokemon this card is attached to, do 30 more damage to your opponent's active GX or EX. These, like Choice Band alongside Delmise, is very important in the ADP Zacian matchup. I am not putting this deck in our Gauntlet, so you do not need to worry about it, because this deck is just, it feels like we're playing different formats. Its broken draws are just unbeatable, and it's just not an enjoyable experience for anyone playing against it. It is a lot of fun to play, and this deck actually has a pretty good matchup against it, but I don't want there to be like 1 or 2 decks that have a decent matchup against it, and then everyone else to feel miserable. So this is a really fun deck. You have the tools to knock out anything. I don't think there's a single deck in here that Zacian cannot one-hit KO. Yeah, no, there's nothing in here that you cannot one-hit KO. It's a fun deck to play. It's pretty straightforward. Oh yeah, Mew Box. This deck is pretty sweet. It is one of the most interesting as far as like complex decks go. So Memories of Dawn Mew is what this entire deck focuses around. This Pokemon can use the attacks of any of your basic Pokemon in play. So as opposed to Marshadow GX, where your Pokemon have to be in the discard pile, this one they have to be in play and on the bench. So you have this giant toolbox full of just sweet Pokemon with awesome abilities. So you have this one, Bunnelby, which is really good against like Rototiller to shuffle cards from your discard pile back into your deck, which is super powerful in this game. It's not as much in Magic, but it's very powerful in this game. And then discarding the top card of your opponent's deck. Mill is a pretty powerful strategy in this game because everyone draws so many cards. This is your primary attacker, so Spit Shot. Discard all energy from this Pokemon. This attack does 160 to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It does not have to be the active. And this 160 conveniently knocks out Dedenne. Dedenne is a format breaking card. This card is worth 2 prizes, and everyone is running at least 1, and they are playing it almost every game. So this deck is ideally trying to snipe Dedenne's, and it used to be Shaman EX, but Shaman EX has been banned. Tapu Lele GX is being played, which is another one. It goes and finds a supporter. It's a 170, so you can hit it with Cramorant and then use Galarian Zigzagoon to put the last damage counter on that Pokemon. This deck is really cool. It's a lot of fun to play. It's kind of like a combo deck. Like you need a Mew, a Cramorant, the Dimension Valley, which is a stadium. Each psychic Pokemon's attacks cost one less. So, you go back to Mew. Mew has one attack, but she can use all the attacks of all the basics. You go to Cramorant, that costs 3. With Dimensional Valley, that now costs 2. 2 allows you to equip colorless, double colorless energy, or twin energy in Spit Shot for a single energy. So that is very powerful. But it has a lot of play against just about everything in the format. All right, Mew 3 box. This deck is a Mewtwo and Mew GX tag team Pokemon deck. It centers around this Perfection ability. This Pokemon can use the attacks of any Pokemon GX or EX on the bench or in the discard. This is a very cool deck. It runs 7 5-color energies, so you're basically using any Pokemon that you want, and you have Dimension Valley to reduce 1 generic colorless less on all of the attacks. There is a ton of reading involved in this. You can use almost any attack of any Pokemon. The only notable ones you cannot use are Giratina, which is a Pokemon that you can just put on your bench from your discard pile, and it deals 1 damage counter to 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon. Crobat V, this is only here to draw cards. You cannot copy these because Vs do not count. And then that's it. Next, we're going to move into our Prison archetype, and this is going to be 2 deck lists. We have Agrau and Dalstal. Welcome to Agrau. This is a deck based around Rowlet and Alolan Executor, and its super growth ability. This is an attack for free. That's what this symbol means. Search your deck for a card that evolves from one of your grass Pokemon and put it onto that Pokemon to evolve it. If that Pokemon is now a stage 1, search your deck for a stage 2. So you can evolve it from a basic Pokemon all the way into its stage 2 Pokemon if you go second on your first turn of the game. It's pretty powerful, this deck. The attacks are pretty irrelevant on almost all of their Pokemon. It's trying to set up, ideally, you want to make it so each player can't play any item cards from his or her hand on turn 1. That is the ideal state. And then this Vileplume is the other side, which is, as long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, your opponent's basic Pokemon cannot attack. That, alongside Decidueye, which is a new addition. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's V and GX Pokemon. So this locks out just about every type of Pokemon between all basics can attack and prevent all damage from V and Pokemon GX. This deck got a huge upgrade in Tablemon. This is his deck list. He just took down a pretty good Limitless tournament this last week with this exact deck list, and I just copied it from him because he seems to be doing the best with this deck, and we don't really have a lot of results on Expanded post the banning of Shaman EX. Dalstal. This deck is very unusual in how it plays. You are utilizing abilities like Snack Search from the bench on Munchlax, and you're really just trying to hold off and mill people out. So this deck is a very, very unusual playstyle. It's kind of like a mix between Control and Prison. So Robo Substitute and Lily's Pokédoll essentially do the same thing. You play this card as if it were a 30 HP basic Pokemon. If it's your active Pokemon, you may discard it from play and put it on the bottom of your deck. The only difference between this and Substitute, Robo Substitute, is that instead of putting it on the bottom of your library, Robo Substitute just discards it. So those are basically 8 basic Pokemon that just don't take damage or don't give up prizes. That's pretty cool, pretty huge. You use a lot of really powerful Pokemon as far as like what their abilities actually do. You do not deal damage. There's one thing you're going to deal damage with, and that's Pseudo-Widow, and that's Watch and Learn. If your opponent's Pokemon used an attack during his or her last turn, use it as this attack. And now, this is going to be very important alongside Counter Energy, which is, if you're behind on prizes, Counter Energy adds 2 colorless, or 2 of any color. So this will allow you to Watch and Learn for single energy. And now this card is very good against like Snorlax, because Snorlax's attack is pretty massive, and the fighting weakness allows you to take a 1-hit KO on them. as well as you can knock out an opposing Zacian V, because Zacian V's attack is big enough to hit to knock out itself. So Pseudo Widow is a pretty good counter to Zacian V. There's no maximum hand size, so chip off, discard cards from your opponent's hand at random until he or she has 4 cards in his or her hand. Can be pretty massive. Snag Search, once during your turn, flip a coin. If heads, put that card from your discard pile on top of your deck. If you use this ability, your turn ends. That's pretty huge, but it is basically an attack. Like, it ends your turn. You can't attack on the same turn that you use Snag Search. So essentially, you're just sitting behind your dolls, and you are using Munchlax as your pseudo attack. You also have this Mimikyu with Impersonation. So discard a supporter card from your hand. If you do, use the effect of that card as this attack. This is a very, very unique card for this deck and is super important. It allows you to play basically a second supporter for turn. And ideally, you want to play one of these supporters, and then you want to follow up with the Mimikyu Impersonation on Steven's Resolve. Search your deck for 3 cards, put them into your hand, shuffle your deck, your turn ends. Your turn ends is a pretty huge clause on this supporter, but if you're using it as your attack, your turn ends anyways. So this is a very good time to use this card. This Hoopa, prevent all effects of attacks, including damage done to this Pokemon by GX and EX. This brick walls so much of the format. Vs are changing the format slightly, so this card is not nearly as good as it used to be, but altogether this deck is very interesting, it's very fun. Bellelba and Brycemant is its win condition. You are trying to mill them out. And last but not least, we're going into our control variant, which is going to be Cincino Control. Okay, so this is the Cincino Control. This deck is based entirely off of Cincino and the Make Do ability. Discard a card from your hand in order to use this ability. Draw 2 cards. Execute. Propagation. Once during your turn, if this Pokemon is in your discard pile, put it into your hand. So every turn, you have a card that you can discard to make do over and over. And every time this card goes to the graveyard, it is seen as a new card. This is different than in Magic. You have a bunch of different ways to search out Pokemon. You have Field Blower to choose any Pokemon tool or stadiums in play, up to 2, and discard them. It's pretty powerful. You get to get rid of a bunch of people's setup. You have some counter stadiums, so you can bump any enemy stadiums. You have a bunch of supporters, just like one of almost everything. So you get a lot of crazy stuff you get to do. That's going to wrap it up for my rundown on all of the decks that I have put together in paper. If you want to claim any of these, I'm going to make an invite in our Discord server. Everyone who's in it knows who you are. Just feel free to comment in there and let me know which deck you would like to claim. Once we get to 8 people, I will probably call it because I don't have that massive of a house. If some people want to bring some chairs and we want to make use of all of the available space in my house, I'm sure we can do up to 10. That's with a question mark, so depending on how our turnout is, give me a like, let me know what you think, and we'll see ya.